Hey, so this is usually about the time where I put out a video of sorts, where I play through random festivals with unusual or peculiar decks and try to see if anyone wants to stop and pay attention to the game or not. So, unfortunately, this time didn't really have a very good rule set. It was just kind of, hey, best of the best, this is going to be Worlds qualifiers. And I said, hey, you know what would sound good? I bet I can get away with just playing it's kind of a Zark deck. I guess it's called Pendulum Magicians, but the goal of the deck is to actually put Supreme King Dragon Zark out on the field, who actually recently got a bunch of support that we're not going to get for years. So I did get a couple of matches where I caught a lot of people just not paying attention to what cards like Pendulum Call, or what any of the dragons did, or what any of the magicians did, or any effects that I may or may not have. Really though, I left this one game recording up and kind of scrapped the rest because I went insane trying to edit footage. Because this was 90% of my games. This single deck, which is Tearlaments, whatever way you want to splash it. I just can't do this. Not with this archetype. And this is kind of the game whenever you play it. So, I've played it a couple of different ranks over the last couple of weeks. I let myself fall down to silver, went up to gold, and right before I broke platinum, every single rank had Tearlaments in it, and I just can't do this deck. This feels like an archetype that back when I was younger, a child on the playground would have made up. Like, it's almost made up of main character cards, where you get 3 effects for sneezing. And I think I caught this guy too, just not paying attention, or he thought he was going to do something and he ended up not doing it. Now, this was not the optimal field. I really would have liked for any other pendulum monster besides both Odd Eyes dragons. But it's weird how well this turn went despite how stacked it was. And it's not that I can't play against this deck. I think to get most of the gems in this tournament before I started doing like footage, yeah, I'm just playing with Moki Moki there because I'm just waiting for this dude to actually do something. To get the gems for this tournament, I actually ended up playing a Despia deck, and I just sat on double tax dragon, and he gets about 4 or 5 moves before he's burned out 90% of his life points and then can't do anything else. And I think at this point he tries to blow up Zark, but he stupidly ends up activating a spell. Yeah, he activates a spell effect right at the end, which lets me tag out Zark for all 4 dragons. Which I kind of love. Hang on, I'm going to watch this. Sorry if I'm not super paying attention while I'm doing commentary. I love this deck. I love this deck so much. Is it a good deck? No, but this is just fun. To this guy's credit, he does pay attention to, he tries to play around Clearwing Synchro Dragon, but doesn't stop to think that I might be activating the effects in an order that would benefit me. I'm surprised he didn't he didn't pull out the big Tearlaments fusion, or break his combo a little bit so he could stop me from doing this, because I specifically played the trap card that says, hey, you get a big monster in case something's going on, and if something goes wrong or your opponent tries to be cool, you can trade him out for all 4 of his pieces. So the moment I wanted to show you is going to happen in a second, but really I wanted to take a moment and say, probably not going to be doing any Master Duel content in the future. Well, I'm kind of fallen out of love with the game. That's just how it is. But mostly because this is the format. This was about 80 to 90% of the games I played. Like, even with outside of this deck. And I don't mind. You're gonna lose some. You're gonna win some. You're gonna lose some. That's just how it is. I can't keep playing this game where it's gonna be everyone's throwing paper, so I either just throw scissors or nothing happens. And not too interested in that. Because I have about 2 or 3 decks that just blow this deck out of the water. But it's not even that. I think design-wise, lore-wise, all that stuff, I think this is a really, really good archetype. I think Tier Limits is a very interesting archetype. Clearwing Synchro Dragon, I'm going to negate an effect that was activated by a level 5 or higher monster, or that targets a level 5 or higher monster. Then I'll negate an effect that targets one, because I know he's going to try and use a Predaplant monster. So I think I have a deck for each of the dragons individually, too. So I got a Speedroid thing going on somewhere, I have a Odd Eyes deck going on, and most importantly, I have a Predaplant deck, so I know how the cards work. Yeah, look at Clearwing Synchro Dragon putting in work. I hate that I absolutely, like, gypped this dude's combo, and because of how just ridiculously broken this deck is, he can just play through it. I find this weird, because this archetype came out in the same pack that I think they gave support to Neos and Neospatians, and that archetype is still severely limited. In that pack, we didn't get any retrains of Neospatians like we should have. We didn't get any retrains of Neos Fusions like we should have. We got a couple of really interesting cards that are good for combo extending with those decks, as well as letting him play out of bad hands, but any support that deck should have had went into this archetype instead. And it just feels bad. Because these cards don't really lock themselves out of anything. I'll use it as an example. So when you Neos Fusion is the end of your turn. Because after you do that, you can't do anything else. It says no more special summoning. You can normal summon once, that's about it. You might be able to do some more card effects or set up for the next turn, but you get your one free Neos Fusion. This dude could just pitch his hand, fusion summon all his cool tier limit stuff, and still go into Guardian Chimera. And it's not that I mind that this happened, it's that I was able to, like, blast his 2 best monsters, and he just kind of keeps going. Off of 1 or 2 cards, just kind of keeps rolling with it. I think I can Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon for no damage right now. Yeah. And once again, not the best hand, but the fact that I was able to kind of skirt my way out of this combo, and then I get a free Magician. Thanks to Star Pendulum Graph. But it's that this is every game. And it's either I play, what is it? The other deck I have for this is Metaphys, but Metaphys sits there and says if we're not playing out of Banished, you might as well not be playing at all. And I think Despia is the other one. Despia is the other archetype. No, Dogmatica is another deck I have that just hoses this deck down. Because Dogmatica can sit there on Dimension Barrier and say no fusion summoning and no fusion effects either while we're at it. Oh, by the way, most of us can't be destroyed by extra deck monsters, so... Chronograph Sorcerer. And he milled Supreme King Lindworm Dragon, and I was going to attempt to get rid of, whatchamacallit over there, Supreme King Odd Eyes Dragon and do some stuff, but, you know, this deck can play during my turn and play out of the graveyard, and it just does too much. That's kind of what I feel. I don't think it's designed too poorly, but it doesn't have any, like, restraints on itself, like a lot of other archetypes do. A lot of archetypes will tell you, no, if you get to do this amazing thing, you're done. You're not doing anything else for the rest of the turn. You're not doing this next turn. I think a pretty decent example is, whochamacallit. And it's got so much, it came out of the gate with so much support. just so much support. Like, a lot of archetypes don't build themselves up immediately. Valance, which I played in the last video, is a good example. But this one just, I feel like it weirdly came out with everything it needed. And he couldn't target anything else, so we had to target Star Pendulum Graph. Because he can't target my monster with card effects. I think he was intending to. Yeah, don't you push that button, you coward. Nope, we need content. Don't you surrender. And that's the weirdest thing. Like, Fusion used to be a not great archetype. And here you can just do whatever. Most decks couldn't pull this field off. Well, Shadal could, but Shadal was another gross Fusion archetype where it took it too far and then a bunch of stuff got hit. I don't know if a lot of Shadal stuff got hit. I know a lot of, oh no, a bunch of Shadal stuff did get hit. I forgot Construct was banned for a little while. But it always feels like they proceed to try and make an obsolete archetype good, and then it's just not good. Nah, there's no reason for me to chronograph Sorcerer. As much fun as it would be, there's no reason for it. At this point, the game is over, but whatever. The funny part about this play right now is if I had pulled a second... Nah, I wouldn't have done anything. Prior to that, if I had pulled a second Odd Eyes Dragon, I feel like I could have done something. Or a third Odd Eyes Dragon, whatever. Now I will Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and get my Pendulum card to my hand. Because why not? Do it. Who cares? Do it. This wasn't even the guy who tried to triple destroy Purple Poison Magician. Some guy negated Purple Poison Magician and destroyed him like 3 times in a chain, and just the effect still went off because he didn't want to read the card. But yeah, this is the format. And once again, don't think this is a bad deck. I think the theming of Depression, as well as the aquatic stuff, and the Beast's Starfrost story is actually kind of interesting when you look at it. But all in all, I just feel like it's bad because there's no gates on it. There's nothing that says, hey, for the rest of the turn, you're locked into tier limits. You don't get these sick combos and you just do whatever you want. Or you're locked into fusion summoning, or you're locked into this. It's crazy! A bunch of the Neos cards that came out with this archetype say, like, hey, you're fusion summoning for the rest of the turn, and this archetype doesn't care. Like, it's crazy. Which is why when... It's a Shizu's deck, right? Or Shizu's cards. They're technically Gravekeeper cards, but yeah, whatever. A lot of them play around in the graveyard, which unfortunately gives this deck a ludicrous amount of, Just end the game, you coward. You're already playing tier limits. Just know how to take a win, jeez. They already play with the graveyard a lot. I want to say it was completely intentional along with this deck. But yeah. TLDR, don't expect a lot of Master Duel content, because this is going to be the next couple of months, because Konami doesn't care enough for a good ban list, and I don't care enough to sit through it, so, yeah, whatever. Alright, well, take care.